United and fuck off home. Sell 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 United.
Billion that they bid first time around. If he really wants it, and he pays more than that, surely the Glazers are going to say, thanks very much, we paid 200 mil, we're off.
Well, look, we don't know for a fact that Sheikh Jassim's bid was £4.5 billion. We know that the Glazers are looking for a figure around £6 billion. I'd be surprised if Sheikh Jassim was willing to go that high. But what was happening today at
Old Trafford? Straight to our city editor, Mark Kleinman, who's outside the club. Well, it all seems to be happening there tonight. Mark, what have you got?
That's right, Dermot, a day of big news. What I can reveal tonight is that an even more significant development is on the horizon, and that is that the Glazer family, which has owned Manchester United for the last years, is finally preparing to sell up. Now, as I understand it, the family of the club will announce within the next couple of days, possibly as soon as tonight, that it is looking at alternative financing options to fund the future development of Manchester United. Now, that could include the sale of a minority stake in the club. It could involve a partnership with third-party investors, but it also is going to involve...
Manchester United fans continue to demand ownership change as Glazer era remains divisive. Supporters of Manchester United FC have spent nearly 2 decades voicing frustration over the club's ownership under the Glazer family. Since their highly controversial takeover in 2005, the American family has remained one of the most debated ownership groups in world football, while the club has continued to generate enormous commercial revenue and maintain its global brand. Many fans argue that success on the pitch has not matched the club's historic standards. The takeover itself was completed through a leveraged buyout that placed significant debt onto the club. This financial structure immediately triggered widespread protests from supporters, who feared that the long-term interests of the club could be compromised. Over the years, fan demonstrations, protests inside and outside stadiums, and organized campaigns have become a recurring theme whenever discussions around ownership arise. Although Manchester United FC has remained one of the most commercially successful football clubs in the world, critics frequently argue that football decisions have not always matched the scale of the club's ambition. Supporters often point to inconsistent recruitment strategies, managerial changes, and periods of underperformance as signs that stronger football leadership is required. The debate intensified in recent years, when reports surfaced suggesting that the Glazer family were open to exploring strategic alternatives, including a potential sale or outside investment. That announcement sparked a wave of speculation across global football media about possible buyers interested in acquiring one of the sport's most iconic institutions. Among the names frequently linked with a takeover has been Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, whose reported interest generated enormous excitement among some supporters hoping for a new era of investment and ambition. However, despite months of negotiations and speculation, no full sale was ultimately completed, leaving the club's long-term ownership structure largely unchanged. Meanwhile, British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe and his company Ineos entered the picture with plans to invest in the football operations side of the club. This development signaled a possible shift toward restructuring the sporting management at Old Trafford, even if full ownership remained with the Glazers. For many supporters, the situation represents a complicated moment in the club's modern history. On one hand, there is cautious optimism that changes in football operations could help restore stability and direction. On the other hand, the underlying issue of ownership remains a central concern for a large section of the fanbase. The passion surrounding Manchester United FC is unmatched in global football, and supporters continue to believe the club should compete consistently for the biggest trophies in the sport.